Thanks for messing around in the Vampire Survivors BESWEC. 403. Il Molise gets owed to Castlevania because, well, Il Molise has nothing to offer. You just sit in the middle and you win. You don't have to do anything. So, as you see displayed on the screen here, it's going to be 4 characters running through, blinking in and out as I see the start and end of each one of these groups of 4 as we go down on every single ode to Castlevania character. But rather than just leaving off the video with nothing, I am instead going to be talking about my favorite thing in the world. Math. But since that would get me demonetized even though I don't have monetization, thank you YouTube algorithm, I will instead be talking about World of Warcraft PVP because I need to fill dead air. Website doodles. Well, we said goodbye to that castle, but now we're going saying hi to a castle in World of Warcraft. Well, not really a castle ever. Anyway, let's talk about some Arathi Basin. It was the third battleground introduced in World of Warcraft, a separate region where you could queue into. Originally, you had to queue into it directly on the area it was supposed to represent, the Arathi Highlands, but eventually they allowed you to just queue into it from the major cities. It is a capture the point type 1, where you go to certain points around the map. There's 5 of them in an X shape. And you click on a flag, turn it to your side after a bit of time, and start gaining points up top. Originally it was supplies, but it eventually got changed to just points, time as it is. So there are 2 factions here, the Alliance in the northwest and the Horde in the southeast. The Alliance starts slightly closer to their first flag than the Horde, like just enough time that if you perfect it, you can actually get a 10-point bonus ahead of the Horde team. In response, the Horde is closer to the more important of the middle points. In the southwest corner, the lumber mill, that is up on a very large hill and slope. And it's important because with that, you can then use items to go down to the middle point in the middle, the blacksmith, and take a nice triangle formation and secure the match. Over in the northeast is a mine. That's in a sunken hill, which makes it much harder to defend than any other point. So early in the game's lifespan, there was an imbalance caused by the Alliance having 1 class and the Horde having 1 class. And I was that 1 class on the Alliance, the Paladin. It was the most painful thing to play in the world. It did nothing. It auto-attacked. That's it. That's your only real way to do damage, auto-attacking. You had a really cruddy AoE attack that you had to use, but that was not good damage. Eventually, they patched it in so you had an execute, an attack that hits the target low on health. You wouldn't never ever get that off. You had to rely on other people. People on the Horde, of course, complained about having a ranged execute on the Alliance. Well, Paladin was never going to be able to do that in a one-on-one. And in a battleground, your mana was better spent, healing things, which I did. I knew my role. I knew what to do. Switch between offense and defense as necessary. Also, it was holy damage, and in Warcraft there were multiple damage types. The spell damage also all had a base 5% chance to be resisted. And I swear, no matter what the dev said, it was higher for holy damage. It's 15 by base. I so sweareth on my name as mezzying around. I played a lot of PvP back in the day. A lot of bad matches. Like, Horde just sort of dominated the 2 battlegrounds. And then the Alliance could sort of stalemate the 3rd, even though the Horde technically dominated that. But we're talking about Arathi Basin. So now that I've given you a layout, let's fast forward to when I wasn't playing a Paladin and, being useful in the game. I was a Demon Hunter. Fast, high mobility, great agility. Excellent class all around during the Legion Battle for Azeroth era, which I played in heavily. During this time, I was getting back into the PvP, getting things on, and doing a lot of PvP. It was a good way to get some stats and points and on gear and all that good stuff. So 2 matches, 3, a couple come to mind when I'm talking about Arathi Basin. One is a kind of funny one, is that we were behind, this sort of happens, you're behind, you try and make a desperate play, especially on Arathi Basin, you just don't want to lose 2 to 3, it's very slow. So you're making a push on the mines, which the Horde did have. And the Demon Hunter has the ability to naturally glide, slow their descent. So the Horde had the mine. They were actually not defending the flag directly. They were sort of intercepting us on the road. Generally pretty dangerous, but also a valid strategy at certain points. So I drop down, I see what's going on. There's only one guy close to the flag. Now I could easily just have jumped him and started fighting him, but Demon Hunter damage is consistent. It's not in burst. You want burst in PvP. So even though I hit the high scoreboard for damage a lot of the time, I was not really raking in the kills, as it were, the killing blows, as it were. So I glide in behind him, and I ignore him. I ignore him and just start tapping the flag. I start capturing it. This guy, who could easily have just turned around, hit me, knocked me out of it, totally didn't. He was just too focused on the battle in front of him, nowhere close. And I'm looking, and I'm just trying to make sure if I can sneak this off. And there's another Horde guy that's running in. I can tell he sees it. He knows I'm here. He's trying to get to me. Another alliance thankfully intercepts him, slows him, stuns him, does all the good stuff, stops him. I tap the flag, and this removes their ability to spawn at the mines. It's now in congestion. They'll spawn back wherever the heck their other base was. I don't remember. And without this, we've now got enough guys here that every one of theirs down is further away than ours. We take them out, kill everyone, get the mine, and from there, we win the match. All because of a little bit of team play and a little bit of not fighting in a battleground. Funny, eh? That's one of those moments you can tell the other team is super pissed at a certain guy. And then we get to one of the funniest matches of Arathi Basin I have. Hardcore fighting in the center of the map. Super hardcore. Some of the hardest blacksmith fighting I've ever seen in the entire history of the game. I jumped off the lumber mill because we were losing it for some reason. The Horde were attacking blacksmith as well, so I jumped down there, intercepted, fight. I die. I revive at the graveyard nearby. I run in, stop him from capping the flag. Do my best to survive. Die again. Revive just in time. The graveyards are actually on a 30-second timer between each revive wave. So I revive with that, run in, stop them from capping. We all die. Then that just sort of continues for no joke, about maybe 20 different attempts. I died, timed it just perfectly to revive, get in, stop them from capping, and do everything. And they get pissed. I know they get pissed. They start funneling everyone in here. Multiple of their bases start funneling in defenders from the other bases, the attackers from the other bases, getting everyone here, trying to intercept me, stop me, but I'm a demon hunter. I'm extremely mobile and my cooldowns lined up perfectly every single time. I would just get in there, stop them from getting the flag over and over and over again. I said that I did this 20 plus times, maybe even more. Definitely a lot. And it eventually works. You fight and fight and do incremental damage after incremental damage, and eventually it just wears them out. They lose this fight. Somewhere in the background, the rest of the team had capped out lumber mill, farm. They were reviving back in their base all the way in the southeast. It was crazy. My score was absolutely terrible for Katie, but it didn't matter. My dying so much had prevented us from losing. In that vein, we got another little bit of trouble going on. That one of the most important things in the match is zoning. A lot of people don't know how to zone. In my time in Heroes of Storm, the Blizzard, MOBA, whatever you want to call it, hero brawler, is that I know there was a game mode where zoning was very important. I knew how to zone. A lot of people didn't. I knew when to advance, when to fall back, when to do all that stuff. I once won a match by just zoning a guy out entirely from stopping us from winning the objective. He couldn't do anything. If he tried to get past me, I'd just beat him down so bad that once he got to the guy he needed to stop, we just double team him and annihilate him. And if he tried to fight me, well, he wasn't going to stop the guy. There was nothing he could do. A lot of the common advice in Arathi Basin is don't fight on the roads. Don't fight on the roads. So I fought on the roads because it zoned the team out. There's the triangle, the blacksmith in the center. Southwest had the lumber mill and the southeast had the farm. And in the middle of those is sort of, the area. If you put a guy there, fast, mobile, you can do a lot of work. If they don't get off their mounts, then I just throw my glaive with snares them by 50%. They're just regular movement speed at that point. They do get off the mount, well, now they're in the middle of nowhere, not doing anything. I probably held up a horde attack wave, like 5 to 7 dudes for like 3 minutes just skirmishing with them, doing nothing but snaring them, keeping them back, dodging. One guy can stop 5. Heck, if one guy can stop 2 from moving around, then it's worth it. You gotta know how to move. And that's a lot of things. Like, distance between the bases is pretty far. Like, between the one closest to the starting base of the Alliance, the stables, and the center blacksmith, it's a decently far run. But there's, the blacksmith, it's not directly in the center. It's surrounded by water in the middle. Water slows you down. It's bad. Unless you have a Death Knight, which can walk on water. I don't know if they actually remove that in Battlegrounds eventually. Anyway, the distance is pretty far. You can't really get to them pretty quickly, unless you are a demon hunter. Because if you time it just perfectly right, you can use all your movement cooldowns and to basically take a direct line to it. You can get there in like less than 10 seconds between the center blacksmith and any of the other bases around by skipping through it. Well, not lumber mill, but hey. And I was really good at moving like that. I would get to the stables. If the horde was attacking the stables, I could get over there in no time, support the guy defending, go back to the blacksmith once that was secure. It's all about mobility, knowing the map, how to get around. So I was good at it. So it led to some other kind of funny things is that back in the olden days is that demon hunters had a lot of mobility I mentioned. Well, you can actually, the horde are naturally closer to the lumber mill, but there was a certain combination of abilities if you use it correctly as a demon hunter. You can actually beat them to it. In fact, you could beat them so badly you could actually arrive on their side of the ramp before they did and set a, well, not really a good trap, but you can try and stop them. Most people are going to be pretty bloodthirsty and not think it through. But if you manage to get a really good snare or sigil on them, you can actually stop them all and cap the flag before they can even remotely contest it. I tried this a couple dozen times. I was only able to ever get it off once. It was pretty incredible since as soon as I did that, I just retreated, got healed up. And even if they wiped us, we would probably... Heck, fighting over the lumber mill does tend to last pretty long, and it didn't happen. But they didn't wipe us. We got the flag, and heck, the guys who started dropping like that eventually came in and, well, rolled it from there. A pretty fun match overall. I don't remember much else about it, but I know we won. That's just sort of how it goes. You learn the map, you learn your class, you know what to do. Make sure you call things out, and you're good to go. But hey, I think that's enough time filling with World of Warcraft PVP to fill out all the time on the video. So let's go to the chat. And with that Il Molise nonsense, we've got 80 more stricken off of BESWEC. That brings us up to 2,115 in total. Yay, numbers. Yay, numbers indeed. That leaves us back over the hump with 1,845 to go. And we're back up to the top with Leon Belmont, heading over on the second wave with Mad Forest and Inlaid Library. Thanks for watching. I hope you had some fun. Please like, dislike, comment, subscribe if you haven't. Description in the center, Star the BESWEC on the right, next best video on the left. I hope you have a good day and you keep mezzing around in Vampire Survivors BESWEC. Less ode to Castlevania, but still kind of ode to Castlevania.